All right. What's
we're
going
live.
on, guys? How is everyone? Today we're doing our top 3 favorite labels of the year. And then next week we have the final list, which I think is going to be hard. It's going to be really, really hard. We got Ice in the chat. He says first. Dave, Sardis, what's going on, everybody? Before we get into the actual content, you want to do pickups?
Yes, but first a reminder, our new channel is where we're going to be streaming exclusively after the first of the year. Link is in the description below. Make sure you subscribe there. We are at a whopping large number of like 37 subscribers last I checked. So make sure we get that number up so that we have a good first Tuesday of the new year. Some pickups, though, that is exciting because I actually finally got your number one box set of the year. Although I think your number one box set is going to change now.
Drastically.
But yes, I finally got Daimajin in. I also finally got in Threshold from Arrow. This is the one that was only shot on iPhones.
I saw it.
Super curious. Did you like it?
Yeah, you can tell it was shot on an iPhone, but then they do some shit. Like they pull some shots off, and I'm like, damn, how the hell did they do that? What's going on, nerd? Eric, Bobby. Daimajin does rule, says John.
Nice. I also very quickly just got in the latest Scream Factory exclusive, The Day the World Ended. It's a Roger Corman title. And then I believe this is the newest Shout Select with John Candy, Joe Flaherty, and Eugene Levy. I got in going, why is my glare so awful tonight? I should pick up and choose where I'm going to be in this room. That is Going Berserk. And then what I think I'm most excited about out of all these, other than Daimajin and Threshold, because we've already talked about those, Wolf of Wall Street in 4K. Gotta love some good Scorsese. I got in the Steelbook.
And hey, if there's any women watching, you guys don't understand Scorsese, just let us know. Have you not seen that meme?
I don't know.
I think it was Vice. Some film website posted an article that like Goodfellas is a Doom movie and women just wouldn't understand it. And it's like, okay. So I say that to Taylor all the time now. Every time we watch a Martin Scorsese movie, I go, you may not understand it. And if you don't, let me know and I'll break it down for you. How about that Northman trailer? I texted Ryan, actually. I was like, did you see that?
I should have stayed blind on it, I got to admit. But I am stoked on it.
I didn't know that it's based on the same story that inspired Hamlet. Did you know that?
Yep.
I did not know that. I thought that was cool.
And it genuinely looks amazing.
But seeing Eggers do a fucking action movie, like a revenge movie, is going to be so awesome. He's got his trademark person center screen zoomed in on their faces looking crazy.
With some kind of surreal thing going on.
And Bjork looks amazing in that movie. So really excited. That and Havoc are like, and John Wick, the 3 movies I'm like most excited for.
I'm going to call it now to Nicole Kidman is definitely fucking the villain. Obviously, she was not shown enough in that trailer. It is clear that she is 2-timing.
Vinland Saga, the live action movie from the anime. My pickups are Armor of God. Great.
Nice.
Which we'll talk about here in a little bit because I have dived a little bit into that set. But I finally got some Vinegar Syndrome shit that I actually like. And it's like right up my alley. So picked up a Ebola Syndrome. Haven't watched it yet. I've seen this movie. I haven't watched the 4K.
It looks so great in 4K.
I cannot wait to watch it. Something I did watch, TC 2000. This is, first off, I love the idea of these things, but it's a pain in the ass to get them back in.
Since you're new to this, the hint on those is to put the film in upside down.
I'm not gonna try it on there, but this movie, have you seen this?
No, I don't believe so.
So one of the bad guys is like behind a door, and Bolo Young just starts like flexing, and he just starts getting all buff, and then he punches the door. The door doesn't explode, but like the seismic wave makes the villain on the other side start bleeding out of his face. Like, it's really cool. And then Tiger Claws 1 through 3. I have watched all of these. The first 2 are dumb fun. They're so stupid and they're incredibly fun. But the third one is so bad. And when you look at the year that the first two came out, it's like 90, I think like 92 and then like 96 or something. And you're like, oh, it's a product of its era, right? And then the third one comes out in 2000, so post Matrix. And you're like, what the fuck is happening? So, but yeah, I'm really happy to have those Vinegar Syndrome titles. I really hope, I mean, I know that they have had that they've put out some bad action movies before, but I really hope that they lean into the terrible martial arts movies. And then some really handsome dude sent me this in the mail. I didn't even know. Ryan bought me Siege and Perdata Durango for Christmas. So thank you. And his Christmas present is still inbound to my house, but it's very flip, but you're gonna like it.
And I will take that opportunity to remind everybody, if you do happen to have some extra Christmas cash lying around, I would love to see some outpouring of love for Awaken, which was my top 4K pick of the year. This film is beautiful looking, and this is still only available right now on the Vinegar Syndrome website because of this partnered label only month. And I don't know what's going on. Did you see what Vinegar Syndrome posted today?
Yeah, they're doing 20 new titles January 1st.
Almost 20 new titles on January 1st.
Hell yeah.
And it's going live at midnight, which they've never done on like a regular month.
Day,
yeah.
Midnight. Wow. Do those guys sleep?
No, of course not. Whole lot of cocaine, probably.
Dude, fuck yeah. I mean, that just fits the company. But thank you so much, Ryan. I'm really excited. 2 movies that I've almost pulled the trigger on multiple times and never did, but thank you so much. I'm gonna watch these probably on Christmas break. I have a 4-day break coming up, so
I will after you send me Juspian, I'll watch that in a couple months.
I mean, that is one of the things I got you. So he's 100%. He's 100% correct, and you're gonna love it, dude. The theme song is gonna be stuck in your head. It's so good. It's like back when shows had theme songs to them, like, and that doesn't happen anymore. And it's so catchy. But
you know what I miss is the '90s trend of rock bands being hired to make a song for the movie.
Dude, yeah, or the game.
Like, Bryan Adams doing the Robin Hood Prince of theme song, and all of the movie footage is in the music video.
Bryan Adams did that? Bryan Adams? Oh, man. I think it was Motley Crue. Hang on, Motley Crue Quake song. It's got to be Motley Crue. Yeah, Motley. Wait, is that right?
That is a band.
There is one of those rock bands in the 80s did a song for Quake, and it never got published. So, I want to talk about the Shawscope box set real quick.
Cool. I'm sure you continued watching some of that this week, so that goes with the next part, anyways.
Finished all of it.
Nice.
I talked about this on my review, and I've talked to you about this. The commentary for Five Deadly Venoms is fucking god awful.
Is it only that one commentary that has all the mistakes? That one,
but he also wrote the book. And the book has some inconsistencies in it. Nothing that's like terrible. And a lot of the stuff that, like, I have a list on my phone on the Notepad app of stuff, but just a few things like Lau Kar Long never worked on Shaolin Temple. The snake actor Wai Pei isn't in Disciples of the 36 Chambers. Executioners of Shaolin. This is the one that is a big one for me, and I think for fans. Executioners of Shaolin was never released as Master Killer, nor does it have any of the Venom Mob actors in it. 36 Chambers was called Master Killer in the States. And I feel like that last one is such a like just knowing the fundamentals of this stuff, and to get that wrong is such a. So a friend of the channel, Fanatical Dragon, messaged him on Instagram, and he got blocked for telling him. And I wasn't going to say anything, but I was like, you know what? Fuck that dude. He's, like, why is he acting like that? So I publicly put it out on Twitter, and he's very passive aggressive about the whole thing. And he also does this thing that I didn't want to talk about it in my review because I didn't know how to word it then, but I've thought about it, and I think I know how to word it correctly. And before I say this, I do want to say I am very much pro LGBTQ. I mean, I have a shirt that says "Defend your LGBTQ friends" on it. I am very much in favor of trans rights, gay rights, all that stuff. But there's a thing that I noticed, and Fanatical Dragon noticed as well, is that there's a thing in Asian cinema, in Hong Kong cinema, called heroic brotherhood, and it's dudes shirtless, very masculine, muscles,
Right.
and from a Western perspective, from a Western eye, it comes off as gay. And there was one article that claims that Chang Che, the director, was secretly gay, even though in Chang Che's memoir, in Chang Che's memoir, the person who co-authored it brought it up to him, and he denied the rumors, like as he was, in his later years, denied ever being gay. But there's a thing in the commentary where he is just calling it, The Five Venoms, a gay movie. It's a gay rights movie, and that it's a pro-gay statement. It's like he's trying to tie, I think, a personal ideology in a Western eye to something that is foreign to our eye. And I noticed, anything that has to do with male bonding in the States is like a little, like I grew up, I played football, and when we would go to the movie theaters, my friends would put empty seats between us as gay buffers. Like that's how
Right.
That's how it is.
It's just very 2000s, yeah.
Yeah, and when I would go to Sicily, guys hold hands. Guys lay on the couch and cuddle. Like it's not out of the ordinary. But so I found that very disheartening that they gave someone who didn't know the basic facts, tried like immediately right away, like in the first sentence, I think he says this is a gay movie, and then tries to say that on arguably the biggest film of the set. The Five Deadly Venoms is one of the most beloved, largest films of martial arts and kung fu history. And I think this dude butchered and flopped on his commentary. But the rest of the set, phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. The restorations look insane. I think the later half, I think right in the halfway point, I think all the restorations look great. But King Boxer, you can tell the film elements were a little dated. Because I think they're going in chronological order, so they're going in by year, and so the set's laid out like in almost a brief history of Shaw, and then Shaw Scope 2, we already know a few of the titles. We know that My Young Auntie, Invincible Shaolin, Magnificent Ruffians, Kid with the Golden Art, 10 Tigers from Kwantung, and there's a mystery Chor Yun title. They said just one Chor Yun movie. I'm going to guess it's going to be Magic Blade. That's arguably his biggest movie. Then 36 Chambers and Return to Him, possibly the third. So we know 8/9 out of the possible 12 movies already for Shawscope Volume 2. And a lot of it is Venomob stuff. So I'm super pumped about that. But yeah, great set. Sardis says he ordered the Shawscope because of my review. Thank you. But yeah, that's just my.
I'm waiting to toss it open on Thursday, but I also got mine in as well.
Woo! It's beautiful, man. Ragnar says I want the Brave Archers. 88 put out the first one, and that series is very hit or miss for me. I think Brave Archer and his mate is arguably the worst movie in that franchise. It's very goofy and bad, but the first two are great movies, and they're unofficial Venomob movies. I'm gonna be making a video on like the guide to Venomob after I finish my Shaw Brothers movies, because there's the core movies with every member, and then there's movies that have at least two members in them, and then there's like a third tier of movies that have at least one member in them.
We also got an announcement in the last week for another Shaw Brothers title coming from Arrow, and
I am going to be double dipping. Come drink with me. Absolutely. Incredible movie. Yes, D-Flex, awesome. That's such a good movie. For those of you who don't know, it's the only King Hu movie that he directed at Shaw. It's not the earliest wuxia movie, but I think it's probably the most influential. It's where he got a lot of the basic tropes. So if you do watch a lot of like Crouching Tiger or Hero or all these modern movies, you're going to see a lot of the tropes started there. The 88 films release has, I think, only a commentary. So this one has the part 2 of the documentary.
Bunch of stuff.
A bunch of stuff. So I'm going to be getting it. Tony Raines does a commentary, and he is incredible in the Shawscope box set. Every interview that he does like an introduction almost to like every director, I think, in that set. And he's just fantastic. Is it worth getting the limited edition? The one with the slipcover of the old art. I'm getting the one with the new art for me personally because I have the 88 films and it's the same slipcover. So,
and the new art looks really good too.
New art looks incredible.
Yeah,
amazing. Super pumped about that. So, but yeah, do you want to get started on the list?
No, I want to go over. Is there anything else you watched this week first?
Oh yeah, rewatched the Matrix movies in preparation for tonight at 2 a.m. CST. Matrix Resurrection starts. Dude, Yuen Wu-Ping is probably the most influential fight choreographer ever. And if you look at, he was working at Shaw. He was doing One-Armed Swordsman. You know, I think he worked on Come Drink With Me. He did Snake and Eagle Shadow, Drunken Master, did a bunch of stuff. But the Wachowskis asked him to come work on the first Matrix. He said no. He said no, and then they sent him the script, and he goes, "Okay, yes, I'm gonna come and work on this." So if you watch the Matrix movies, their fist fights are straight up fucking kung fu fights. There's no different. They're just straight up kung fu fights. But the Matrix Reloaded has, I think, the most important action sequence that still is being used today as a template. Fight at the Merovingian, where it starts off with a fist fight when they shoot all the bullets at Neo and he stops them all.
Right.
That fist fight goes into a sword fight, and then that leads into a car chase on a freeway that they built themselves in the desert. They built like 1.5 miles of freeway because they could. It was cheaper to build it from scratch than to lock down a city. And you have one of the most intense action sequences ever recorded, and it's still being felt. If you watch any Marvel movie, it's the same template: small fight. The stakes get raised a little bit, and then an explosive action sequence. In a big public area. But Matrix Reloaded, I think that's so underrated, man. And I even think the last one, as much as it's up its own ass with the philosophical stuff, which I enjoy, the scene in Club Hell is really good. The final fight between Neo and Agent Smith is just straight up anime. Also, did you know that there's vampires?
No, so I gotta be honest. I don't remember if I've seen the third Matrix film ever.
So in the second one, there's vampires and werewolves. So the Merovingian has all his guards are werewolves or vampires, and they're from a thing called the Nightmare Matrix, which was a version of the Matrix that was created based on all of the horrors of mankind. And he took some of the people from there, and because they're so powerful. The people that Neo fights with the swords, you remember when they cut him and he's bleeding from his hand, and the Merovingian goes, "See, he's only a man." Those guys are vampires in there. And then when Monica Bellucci kills one of them with a gun, she goes, "What kind of a madman keeps a silver bullet in his gun?" And all the bullets that Neo stops when they're shooting, they're all silver bullets. They're all silver bullets. And then I watched like an hour-long audiobook version of the plot of the Matrix Online, because spoilers, Morpheus dies in the Matrix Online and the entire plot is canon. That's why they had to recast Morpheus in the new movie, because it's a different Morpheus. It's a different version of Morpheus. So that's crazy. Also, there's a short story that Neil Gaiman wrote about the alien, and their aliens invaded Earth, and the machines plucked certain humans out of the Matrix and trained them to fight the aliens. So the Matrix has got a lot going on. It's cool. It's fucking awesome. It's so cool, dude. It's so rad. But yeah. Oh, I watched the last thing I watched this week was Yakuza Like a Dragon. Takashi Miike watched it last night.
Nice.
I think it's the perfect video game movie. It just perfectly encapsulates how goofy that series is. It's awesome.
Before I dive into mine, I'm sure you read this out of the corner of your eye. Did you see this? Apparently, the guy who did the commentary for the 5 Deadly Venoms, who is Bay Logan, worked for Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein. So he's half right. The guy who did the commentary on the Dragon Dynasty release is Bay Logan. The one who did it on the Shawscope box set is Simon Abrams. Bay Logan, I'm friends with on Facebook. He seems like a fine guy, but allegations aside, his commentary is phenomenal on that set, and it's one of the only reasons why I decided to keep my 5 Venoms Blu-ray, because it's great compared to what's on the Shawscope set. So 88 still works with Bay Logan. He does a couple commentaries on their stuff, but yeah, it does suck. But yeah, that's not his focus on sex. This guy, Simon Abrams, I don't know. He's a critic for the New York Times, so pinkies up.
Have you ever seen any of the Species movies?
I saw the first one as a kid, and it sexually.
The first one is worth it. The rest of them are not.
Kind of like Tiger Claw.
Especially because they're out of print and it's a Scream Factory release, so it's just because it's out of print, it's like $65.
Jesus Christ.
Things I watched this week. My Monday movie with my wife yesterday was Werewolves Within. It is a 2021 film with Sam Richardson and Milana Weintraub, or Weintraub, however you say her last name. She is the AT&T girl. Really great movie. It is like a
yes. The AT&T girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is like a horror version of Knives Out, and it's really well done. It is a werewolf movie. It is a very like Hot Fuzz meets Knives Out, and it's great.
That sounds awesome.
It is so good. It is funny. It is not like a 5-star film or anything like that, but it's well worth it. Sam Richardson is freaking hilarious.
Now, hey, let me ask you something, because you brought up a good thing. When I enjoy a movie and I really enjoy it, I want to give it 5 stars. But then I sit back and I go, does it really deserve the 5 stars? Like how do you go, it's not a 5-star movie, but I loved it. You know what I mean?
Most of the time, the thing that I have built my rating system on is something that I learned, probably like 20 years ago at this point. And that is a perfect film. There is not a single thing that you could take away from it, and it makes the movie still make sense. But there's not also a feeling that you need to add anything to it. So if it feels complete and not overbearing, it is really, really good.
Also, I want to point out the girl who is the AT&T girl. She directs all the commercials now, and she purposely doesn't Cinewise her assets because she got harassed pretty bad.
A lot, yeah.
She seems cool. Is she a good actress?
She is decent. She is supposedly a lot better behind the camera, which is really good to know. But she was in that show Love for Netflix. She did really good on that. She's been in a handful of things, and always is just that she's that quirky, like late 20s brunette that seems like a really good like roommate character.
Okay, I like her.
Yeah, she's great. I watched I think it was Friday night with my sister over FaceTime. She lives in Arizona. We watched the movie The Guilty with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I was looking at my ratings in Letterboxd. This was 4 days ago, and I just had to go, what the fuck is The Guilty? I don't remember watching that, and had to click on it to see what the movie was. It is a good movie, but there's no reason to watch it because I don't remember a damn thing about it. Jake Gyllenhaal acts his ass off.
Yes, he does.
And then acts too much. He overacts in a handful of scenes, and it is embarrassing. It is not the type of Jake Gyllenhaal performance I love. He acts like he did in Prisoners, and then says, "But I also want to say I really want an Oscar," and he tries a little too hard.
Has he won an Oscar yet?
No.
Prisoners and Nightcrawler, he absolutely should have.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I thought that movie was very forgettable. But while watching it, I was engaged enough, and it's 90% of the movie, 99% of the movie is Jake Gyllenhaal. And that twist at the end, I was like, fuck.
Yep.
Man, dude, that hit me in the feels.
And then on Saturday, in theaters, I went and saw Spider-Man No Way Home. No spoilers or anything, so nobody needs to cover their ears and run away. But I will say for me, I'm not like a diehard MCU fan. I don't shy away from the comic book movies, but I went in with there's a lot of hype surrounding this film, but I kept my expectations in check, and I am calling it the best MCU film. It was a 5-star film.
Have you
legitimately?
Seen Dark World?
Have I? Yes, about 19 times because it's my second favorite.
Dark World?
I'm kidding.
Oh, I was joking, but then you were like, I was like, whoa, wow, man.
Yeah, No Way Home. It even just the criteria I just said. I don't think there's anything they could have taken away and had it still really had the same emotional impact or made sense. But also, it didn't need anything else. But the convoluted plot that this could have been is sorted out in a way that just works. And there was a lot of fan service, but the emotional resonance from it was well worth it.
I read that Sony wants to give Andrew Garfield another movie.
Yep.
And how is Venom in the movie?
Invisible until the very, 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 very end.
Really? Is he part of the MCU now?
Not, I mean, kind of, I guess. Everything is part of the MCU technically because it's a multiverse.
Okay. Oh God, is Morbius part of the MCU now?
Technically, I mean, Django is part of the MCU now because it's a multiverse. You can say everything is a part of it.
No. Oh, I did watch one last thing, but it wasn't a movie. I finished Bosch.
Oh, nice. Now you can start the Shield.
And I finished Gamora. And Bosch, dude, so good. Taylor bought me a waterproof thing I can put my phone in, and I can dangle it above the sink at the restaurant while I'm washing dishes. So I've been watching Bosch all week at work, and I've binged 67 episodes in the course of a month and a half. Like, I loved it. Gamora ended, and I'm going to talk spoilers for Gamora because I'm sure not a lot of people are going to, whoa, Morbius is flip. He interacts with Vulture, and then there's Stark references everywhere. Damn. Yeah, Gamora ended. Gennaro Savastano and Shio DiMaggio die at the end. They get killed in a very Gamora fashion. But season 5, I did like it, but they gave Marco, the actor who plays Shiro, control of the script and the direction that the show was going. And I don't think he's a great actor, but I don't think he's a good director. I don't think he's a good storyteller. You could tell he was trying so hard to be Tarantino. It's the weakest season, but I thought the ending was perfect. But man, last night I was crying. I was like emotional. It doesn't glorify anything. It makes that life look absolutely dreadful. And no one smiles in that fucking show. Like, for real, nobody smiles. Even with the weak season, it's probably my favorite television show of all time. It beats out The Sopranos for me. It beats out The Wire. I have an order from 88 delivered today. Went to the mailbox, found an empty package inside. Wow.
I've seen that happen a couple times. That sucks, Dustin. I'm sorry.
Damn. But yeah, Bosch was great. Bosch ended on a really good note, easily transitioning into the sequel. He quits the police force due to politics at the end. And at the end, it shows him signing up to be a PI, and which is what the spinoff series is going to be, is him being a private investigator. So, but yeah, I'm on the fence. I'm going to be doing 2 shows at once. So I started Line of Duty. It's a British cop procedural that's highly praised. First episode is graphic and depressing as fuck. I love that shit. I'm either going to start The Shield or that one show. I forgot.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
SpongeBob SquarePants. So I'm either going to watch SpongeBob SquarePants, the beloved cop procedural, or The Shield. So yeah, I'm excited. But do you want to start our list?
Yeah, I do, and I think that you should kick us off with your number 3.
So number 3 is Kino Lorber for me, and I have like a bunch of titles here, and we're just going to go through them quick because Kino, I don't think maybe except for one, possibly two, is going to make my end of the year list. One of them for sure, which we'll talk about in a little bit. They really didn't have anything to do with it other than just distributing.
And I want to tell everybody first before we jump into it, we are doing what we feel like is the top 3 performing labels of the year. We're not saying that these are definitely the best labels. We're not saying that they are our favorite labels necessarily, that they had the best years for 2021. And they all have their faults. So just keep in mind, we are here, we are understanding, and we will go into as much depth as we can.
Like when I was like trying to get my top 3, I was looking and I was going, I want to do Arrow, and I was looking at Arrow's releases, and I was like, besides the box sets, there isn't a whole lot Arrow did personally for me that besides maybe not Inferno, Shogun's Joy of Torture, which will make my end of the year list. I love Toro Ishii. But Kino is this company where whatever they put out, if it's the genre I like, which is Westerns, they are the go-to company, in my opinion, for good run-of-the-mill Westerns, movies that you throw on in the background. You can be playing, I'll be playing the Switch, or if I just want to space out and watch a good Western that's very tropey with solid acting, they hit all those marks. So just going to go through these. We got Coogans Bluff with Ryan's favorite actor, Clint Eastwood, in there. They started diving into more Charles Bronson stuff this year, and you'll see a lot on this list. It's kind of scattered a little bit everywhere, but Shadow's Land, just solid fun. Before I go to work, I'll say Kino, Blue Underground, and Severin. That's a good list. I'm excited to see who Ryan's number 1 is because he said he's got 32 titles from them. And I'm trying to figure out who the fuck put out 32 quality titles. But then I'm looking at my Kino sack. Veracruz with Burt Lancaster, fun ass movie. Also, this year they seem to be doing a lot of what do you call it? Slipcovers, but for random movies. Like it makes like their selection makes no sense. Most of these are still sealed again because they put out so many. But Macho Callahan, I love this movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but this is a fantastic Western. We got The Last Sunset. This one's got Rock Hudson in it and Kirk Douglas. And then, yeah, these two, they're technically Kino, but they were all done by 3D Film Archive. Dynasty will make my end of the year list. Love this movie. Had an absolute blast with it. And then from the same director, Shogun's Revenge of the Shogun Women in 3D as well. Then we got, of course, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly in 4K. This is probably going to make the list just because it looks incredible. Lucky Luciano. I'm Italian. Had to get the only WAP movie that I think they put out this year. This is a really cool movie because this is I don't want to say proto spaghetti western, but it has a lot of tropes that were later used in spaghetti westerns, and that's The Hills Run Red with Henry Silva. Then we got Mr. Majestic. This is one, I think, their newest title that I have, Charles Bronson. And then I gotta scoot that pile back and start a new one. Shenandoah with James Stewart. Great movie with Burt Lancaster, The Train. This is a great movie.
It is a great one.
Someone else put this out.
I believe it was Twilight Time.
I think Arrow has a copy of this too. I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. And then everyone loves their noir box sets, but I really hope they continue this. The Classic Westerns, Volume 2. This has got Gun for a Coward, Pillars of the Sky, The Redhead from Wyoming. I wouldn't really say that these are classics, but they're good fun. Have they announced the Volume 3 of that?
Of the Western, not yet.
I really hope they continue it. Stranger on the Run. Again, they gave this movie. Yes, they are. They are doing that, Jeff. They're doing a 4K for both. Fist of the Run, Stranger on the Run, movie that I don't understand why they gave the slipcover to. Quantes, actually really enjoyed this movie. We got a stack left. And I'm actually missing one that I forgot to grab, but Rough Night in Jericho, one of the best westerns I've watched all year. So if you guys can get that, it's very violent for a Hollywood movie. Beach Red, which came out at the beginning of the year. Showdown, another solid western with Rock Hudson and Dean Martin. And then another 3D movie, but not anaglyphic 3D. Wings of the Hawk. You can watch that regular. You can watch it on a 3D TV. Doc.
Nice.
And then we got to push that stack back. And then we got Shootout. And we're just going to go through the rest real quick here.
What's going on, Cinema Dave? Glad you're here.
Man of the East. Cinema Dave. I love that guy. Man of the East. I love that dude. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Horizons West. The Plainsman. And finally, thank God, because my arm is tired. Breakheart Pass, which I just watched the other night. Solid movie. And this is what I love about Kino, is that I love westerns. I love, normal like Hollywood produced westerns, and I love spaghetti westerns. And Kino is the only company really just cranking out these movies. Most of the good ones at least, have a commentary by Alex Cox. Yeah, commentary by Alex Cox. Commentary by Alex Cox. Commentary by Alex Cox. Alex Cox. So yeah, they're really nice to have. They do a great job. And they put out so much crap that it's a little intimidating at first. And yeah, all of those are this year, Sardis. All of those came out this year. A couple of them I haven't watched yet, but I have seen before and I wanted to highlight. But yeah, Kino, I think, deserves a spotlight. But again, none of their releases feel truly special because they're just cranking them out, slapping, a commentary on there. There's no extras really. You know what I mean?
I disagree with that, but we'll talk about that more in just a second. Let's go through some of these comments first. Ragnar says Code Red gets a lot of shit, but they have a very extensive catalog. They have a very old, extensive catalog. They're hardly putting out anything nowadays, unfortunately. Severin is putting out people's stuff quickly, and then other people like myself, I'm not getting anything. So it kind of depends on if you're on their favorites list or not, I guess. Ice says, not the best year, but want to give a shout out to Korean Film Archive, Classic Flicks, and Diskino. And then here's
what's that?
Go ahead.
Wait, no, what was that? Rise of the Machine Girls, any good? Or the movie slate? Saw it on Right Stuff. Rise of the Machine Girls, I heard is fun, but I haven't seen. And then Sardis says, love westerns. I enjoyed the Randolph Scott set. That's from
Mill Creek.
Mill Creek. Yeah, 12
Yes.
westerns, 12 movies. They couldn't. I think Randolph Scott did like maybe 2 other westerns in that same era, but John says no full core set for him either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that they crank these things out, and it seems like every week Cinema Classics messages me and says, "Hey, there's another." He actually messaged me today. There's another slate of westerns from Kino coming out next week. You want them? And I just wrote, hell yeah. I don't even know what they are. I don't know. I don't want to know what they are. I'm just going to buy. And that's the other thing. They are cheap. They're super cheap releases, which is
They're brand new for like $14,
which is perfect. I mean, you would be paying probably $10 to rent a movie digitally. So for an extra $5, you can have it. It's on your shelf. I like how the spines are all uniform, just the black on white. But yeah, I really enjoy Kino. I mean, some of these are just outstanding. Like, I really enjoyed Horizons West quite a bit. And also, a lot of these are like rated PG, and then you watch them and you're like, that's PG? You know what I mean?
Well, remember, there was no PG-13 yet. That didn't happen.
Okay.
That didn't happen till I believe the 80s.
Let's not forget smaller labels like Netflix and Disney.
Catch-all says my top 3 of the year: 88 films, Eureka, and Arrow. I guarantee you we're going to be talking about at least one of those tonight.
Catch, we will be talking about 2 of those.
I wasn't going to give that away, damn it. Sardis, did you get those this year? All of those are 2021 releases, as far as I'm aware.
And I'm missing a couple, like I said.
Yeah, not all of the 2021 releases, just all of those were 2021 releases. Kino does have a lot of noir and old sci-fi. They've got all kinds of stuff. I love it. And this is a big one to highlight. Kino's Kolchak set is my favorite of the year. Commentary on every single episode.
On every episode?
Every single episode.
Damn. That's amazing.
Yes. Absolutely great release.
Now, before we went live, are you picking Kino for number 3 too?
That was also a surprise as well.
Well, I just wanted to highlight because you showed me a stat with no overlap, and it's mind-blowing.
Right. And so let's get into that. My number 3 is also Kino. And one of the main reasons I wanted to go over this is because Kino puts out literally like 5 titles a week, and that's not
Is it
exaggerating.
really a week?
Yes.
Jeez.
They pick 2 or 3 Tuesdays every month, and they release 5 or 6 titles on those Tuesdays. Um, I wanted to highlight first, this is not a 2021 release. I think this is from 2016, but a friend of the channel sent this to me from Kino as a Christmas present. This is Moving Violations. He sent me a note with it that says, Ryan, a funny film including Fred Ward and pre-Chucky Jennifer Tilly. Happy holidays. Have a great 2022. Thanks for everything. So thanks to that viewer. And also want to go in. They have a ton of other 2021 releases that I love. First off, we have number 17 from Hitchcock. They are continuing to put out almost all of his stuff. Hilarious classic, CB4 with Chris Rock. Great release. They recently put out Viva. I'm dying to see this one, but this is one that got another release from, I believe Shameless this year. Go ahead.
Our theme tonight is our 3 favorite labels. We're not doing like a best. We're just showing off all the releases that we got from our 3 favorites. And I highlighted Kino because I don't think my final list is going to include too many of them. And also, fuck you, Jeremy.
Jeremy is in Pennsylvania, so hope you have a good holiday out there. He's visiting his mommy.
Oh.
Jeremy said, "Did I include that on my list because it came from a sub, or is it a good movie?" I haven't seen it. I just got it in. So literally, I just wanted to highlight. It's not even from 2021, but more 2021 releases. The Long Goodbye with Elliot Gould. This is a great film.
Amazing.
Just got this in. Get Crazy. I don't think I've seen this one, but this is supposed to be great. And that cast, I mean, Daniel Stern, you got to watch it.
Alan Gurlitz, I haven't heard that name in so long.
Homebodies. This is one that has been dying for a good home media release. But then they had to come out and make me rebuy some of my favorite films out of nowhere, featuring one of my favorites, Vincent Price. We got Master of the World. We've got Comedy of Terrors. We've got The Raven. And we have The Last Man on Earth. But then, on top of all that, they made friends with my biggest friend this year, and that is the 4K format. So we have Misery in 4K. Looks incredible, way better than it's ever looked in the past. Silence of the Lambs in 4K. I mean, you can't really go wrong there.
I will say, I love Silence of the Lambs, but if a girl has that tattoo on her, red flags. Red flags.
The last 4K is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and this is just literally one of the best movies of all time. Like one of my top 25 of all time.
Really?
Yeah. That is all I have from Kino that I wanted to highlight that is not the same as you. And Kino is amazing. Granted, they do put out a lot of shit. I will say that right now. When they put out, 20 to 24 titles a month, a lot of their movies are going to be bad. I will not say that they are all great, but a lot of what they put out is really good. And not to mention, they have literally the best sales of any boutique.
Yeah, they do. Like $4 or $5 a Blu-ray. It's
you can buy a Blu-ray from $5 to about $11,
which is nuts. Kino's. I'm also grateful that they put out a lot of, I don't want to say bad movies, but because they're putting out stuff that probably would never get put out. I mean, I'm sure there's not that many labels that are like, man, let's put out Man of the East and Quantes out. So but they always do at least put a commentary, and I love commentaries. So but if it's not by Alex Kotz, I don't give a shit.
By the way, Video Store says they shouldn't ruin their covers with that 4K banner.
Yes,
it's not like those films are going to stores, but they are.
Are they really?
Those films are being sold in Best Buy and other physical media stores. So they are absolutely going into stores. And unfortunately, collectors like us care about that. But other people that are normies, they need things like that. And unfortunately, they're going to cater to some of those sometimes.
It's not a normie label.
Your number 2?
My number 2, and this is, guys, this is so hard. for me, because I'm looking at this and I have the exact same number of releases for each label that I picked for 1 and 2. I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, like which one did I enjoy more? And I'm gonna have to give a slight edge to the other one, but we're gonna talk about Eureka. And I want to kick things off. Yeah, number 2, Eureka. I want to kick things off with a movie that came out at the end of last year, so around this time last year. And that is The Bride with the White Hair. This is a very violent wuxia film. I highly suggest you guys pick this up. Loaded with special features. I think this one is still available. I think the one with the book is still available. Yeah, I think it is because I don't think it's sold out. But go pick up this movie. I've seen a lot of mixed reactions to it. I don't get it because I thought this movie was brilliant. But I wanted to highlight this as my first Eureka pick of the night. And then let's kick things off with what I think is their second best release of the year. And it's a movie I normally don't like. And that's a movie led by a woman. And that is Johnny Guitar. Joan Crawford absolutely is incredible, dude. She's a gem. Joan Crawford is incredible. I wish they did this with more movies. Nice hard slip with a book, a really extensive book too. Normally, I don't know how to read, but I read through the entire book and it's just incredible. The transfer looks great. It's from a brand new 4K restoration of the original film elements. It's just amazing. So I highly recommend you guys pick up Johnny Guitar. Probably the biggest surprise of the year. And then, of course, I love Asians and I love their movies. And this year they put out a lot of movies by Asians. And
did they?
A lot. And I'm gonna break this down. Actually, I should cover the rest of the westerns first. So yeah, they put out the Sabata Trilogy. I was really excited about this. I had these from Kino. They went super out of print. Sold them once this got announced. And you know what? The one with Yul Brynner gets a lot of crap. It gets a lot of flack for not being as good as the ones with Lee Van Cleef. But Yul Brynner is a sexy man. He's in this movie. He's got that chiseled face. He's got his shirt open, his chest hair popping out. Just pure masculinity. These movies are fun. Their gimmick is like the weapons are all gimmicky, So I highly suggest you pick up the Sabata Trilogy, loaded with special features. You get commentary with Kim Newman. You get commentary by Mike Siegel, who's done some stuff with Kino as well. You get a new video piece for each film by Austin Fisher. So you get like a nice little video essay. Really awesome. And then they also put out, Kino put these out, I think, last year, but they put them out this year in a little double pack of John Ford, Hellbent, and Straight Shooting. Really old films, 1917 and 1918. So
nice.
They're old as fuck. But it's really cool that we have those still surviving. So yeah, loaded with special features. They aren't the best movies because they're so old and they're slightly boring, but really happy to have it. That's under the Master Cinema line. And then probably my favorite Western release that they've done this year, The Great Silence. Just an amazing film. One of the best movies of all time, loaded with special features. Same transfer as the Film Movement release, but this one just has so many extra goodies in it that it deserves to be in your collection. And then they put out, so we're breaking down the Asian releases by genre. So I'm going to call this the heroic bloodshed genre. Even though not all of them are straight up heroic bloodshed, they're in the same, same.
So specific. I love it.
Yeah. So Time and Tide, Choi Hark. Choi Hark is probably best known for Once Upon a Time in China movies and a few of the Van Damme movies, which we'll be talking about later. This movie has one of the absolute craziest action sequences in it that happens at an apartment complex. Story is a little all over the place, but it is just an adrenaline rush of action throughout almost the entire thing. Then we got Ringo Lamb's Wild Search, starring Chow Yun-fat. A really good love story that is disguised as an action movie. Some really good set pieces in it. Then we got Johnny To's PTU, a really good movie about a cop who loses his gun, and in the 24 hours that he takes to try to find it and everything that unfolds. It's crazy. And then their recent movie, another Ringo Lam movie, Full Alert, solid movie, some really good car chases in this. But what I love about their selections for Hong Kong movies, especially this stack right here, is that nothing captures a city quite like Hong Kong directors making movies about Hong Kong.
That's true.
I wish I could go back to the 90s and experience that city back when it was amazing. You know what I mean? Like back when it was pure. But yeah, those are their Western and their heroic bloodshed titles. Then we're going to get into the martial arts releases, and this is where they killed it this year. So Lucky Stars trilogies, I think there's actually 12 movies. There's like 8 or 12 of these movies, but these are the ones that star, not to say star, they have Jackie Chan in them. Winners and Sinners, My Lucky Stars, and Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars. Some of the humor can be a little offensive and a little goofy, but this cover is really nice. I don't know if that's picking up on the camera very well, but the stars literally twinkle. They shine, they're beautiful. And then we got Encounter of the Spooky Kind. Last year they put out Mr. Vampire. This is a martial arts horror movie. And so have you ever seen this?
I've seen, I believe, the first half. I have not finished it yet.
So there's a word for the vampires in Chinese folklore, and I'm forgetting what they're called, but they literally just like move in one place and they hop, and it looks really goofy, but it's also very unsettling. This movie is just a lot of fun. They've been leaning a lot in the Sammo Hung, which next year, 3 out of the 3 months, we're getting a Sammo Hung movie. Millionaire's Express, just everyone's in this movie except for like Jackie Chan. It's crazy. A lot of great set pieces, a lot of really funny comedy. I've talked about that. But then my top 3 favorite Eureka releases. One Armed Boxer with Jimmy Wang Yu, directed by Jimmy Wang Yu and written by Jimmy Wang Yu. I absolutely love this movie. This was a big fuck you to Shaw Brothers after he left and went to Golden Harvest. Made this movie amazing. Absolutely love this. And great commentary. By the way, almost all of these movies have a commentary by Frank Jang. Almost all of them.
Love it.
If not all of them. I'm trying to remember if the Lucky Star trilogies does or not. But literally almost all of them have a commentary by Frank Jang. And he's just so fucking good and knowledgeable.
He's everywhere. Yeah.
He's everywhere. He's the master of remaster. Duel to the Death, amazing movie. Highly recommend you guys pick up Duel to the Death. Just one of the best swordplay films. Literally bonkers. There's ninjas that morph into one big ninja. There's ninjas with boobs. There's crazy sword fights. And it does something that I really like is that if you ever watch Chinese movies and they involve Japan at all, they're very racist. Extremely racist towards the Japanese. This movie is about the strongest warrior from Japan and the strongest warrior from China. And they come together at the end of, I think it's like every 10 years or so. And they have a duel to the death to see which country's martial arts are the best. And they treat the Japanese with love and respect. And I really, really, really enjoyed that. But my number 1 release of the year from Eureka is no surprise if you've been watching this show. Cinematic Vengeance with the 8 Kung Fu classics from Joseph Kuo. 7 Grandmasters, 36 Deadly Styles, World of Drunken Master, Old Master Sean, Kung Fu 18 Kids, 18 Bronzeman, Return 18 Bronzeman. Amazing release. Every movie has a commentary. Michael Worth and Frank Jang do the commentary for 7 Grandmasters. Michael Worth runs, he's an actor and director, but he runs Pearl River Collection. Commentary of the year for me. Just these movies look insane. And I really want to give props to Eureka because, they're restoring and remastering these classic Golden Harvest movies, but no one is putting out movies of like, literally these are like the spaghetti westerns of Kung Fu movies. They're poorly made on a low budget. I'm surprised the film masters aren't lost to time. They look incredible. And if the Shawscope box set wouldn't have came out this year, that would have been best release of the year for me. It's tied. It is close. But yeah, that's Eureka. I don't think any other label diversified like any other year. That would have been number one. But my number one is just so good that
It's so over the top. Yeah.
So over the top that we're going to talk about that.
So Jeremy, go ahead.
Jeff says, "Could you mumble that again, Flip?" Sorry.
How fast you rate all 8 of those was so impressive.
Thank you.
Jeremy wants to know, since we're talking about our favorite labels, can you remind me of the most recent release from Second Sight? They just released, literally, I don't even think it's out yet, or maybe it's released today. That is Session 9, and then the one before that was Swallow. Ragnar says, I love Vincent Price, but if you own the Screen Factory box set, that seems a little overkill. I do, but also I love Vincent Price, and I try to support everything it is just so that we can keep that name in everybody's mouth. And it's somebody like I have, is it visible? Right here. I literally have a bust of Vincent Price at the ready.
Vincent Price can bust in my mouth.
Wow.
I love Vincent.
Jeremy says, I'm going to be the lame guy and say Vinegar Syndrome is number 3, Scream Factory is 2, Criterion is 1. The only thing that I think is lame on this is most of it.
Criterion, Jeremy, really?
Criterion is bad, and Scream Factory really didn't have that great of a year, in my opinion. This one, however, I very much agree with. Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, and Severin. That is a great list, Ragnar. Really good top 3.
Do you want to hear the joke that I told Jeremy?
Oh, by all means, yeah.
You know Courtney Cox from Friends?
I've heard of her, yeah.
Courtney Cox, that's a weird name for a girl. Her name should have been Courtney Vaginas. I love them a voice message.
Wow. Video Store says he went camping with Mark Cousins once. Interesting. Jeremy Long extended his list. Criterion, Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome,
Jeremy,
Arrow, Kino, Second Sight, Severin.
I'm sorry, dude, but Criterion, really? You're number 1, dude?
I will say this is good. Oscilloscope, great films, but the covers and discs are so bland to a point. Let me see. Jeremy's mom just said, what the hell are you watching? Eric just watched the original Fly. That's awesome. All right. Jeremy says, don't forget to tell Ryan my follow-up joke.
I'll have to look for it. Hang on.
So I'm going to jump into number 2 and say Jeremy is going to love this because my number 2 is Second Sight.
You want to hear the joke?
Of course.
It's kind of like how Jeremy Long is a weird name for me. You'd think it'd be Jeremy Slightly Crooked.
That's pretty good.
So Second Sight, really, you're number 2.
Second Sight is my number 2, and primarily because of this damn quality. I mean, every single release is above and beyond everything that it needs. This is one of my film discoveries of the year. Absolutely incredible movie, obviously, but comes with a book, comes with a bunch of art cards, and then a really good copy of the movie. I mean, all kinds of features on here, literally almost interviews with everybody in the cast and crew. They do a making of, they do a part of the Nightingale in context of history, and they explain it. And this is just their first release of 2021, and it was mind-blowing for me. But
I really thought Second Sight was going to be your number 1 because of how much you have been just loving on them. You've been seriously, you've been talking them up for all year, ever since we started the show. And
very few people are talking about Second Sight, and that's why.
And so number 2, God, I really am wondering who the fuck is your number 1 now.
Before I forget, I want to point out, Dustin, I agree. Dr. Sleep was great, in my opinion. So the second release Second Sight put out this year is Host. And they put in all of this love that they do on all of these limited edition titles for a movie that's not even an hour long. Like, I like this movie a lot. It was really well made, really good pandemic movie. So it's a very modern film. But to put this much love into it, get full book, art cards, and everything with all kinds of special features, ridiculously high quality. And then the year took an incredible turn for me because they put all that love into Raw. And I love this damn movie. all kinds. I mean, interview with actor, interview with producer, audio commentary by a film critic, audio commentary with the film critic and another individual, interview with the director, video essay by Alexandra Heller Nicholas, featurette with a whole bunch of people, quick bites with a whole bunch of people, genre matters panel. I mean, there's so much on here.
That's a great
and
movie.
it's this same thing. Book, art cards, great release.
Isn't that the same
Incredible.
director as Titan?
Yes, sir.
That's a good movie.
Then they came out with the exact copy of a movie I've been waiting literally like a decade to see this film for, and that is Lake Mungo. Lake Mungo had only ever previously been released on DVD, and this finally got it the attention it needed from high definition. Watched this for the first time this year and loved it so much. It was great. It is really good. But the big thing, again, this is the size of the book that a movie like this got. And look at all of the writing on that.
That's nuts.
It is incredible what they're putting into these releases.
I've never seen that movie.
It is really good. It is, if you're the best way to say this, which it really works because my wife is a big fan of this. I told my wife, if you like Netflix miniseries about true crime, you would probably really like this.
Is it a movie
or it is a movie, but it's done in the style of that sort of story.
Is it a horror movie?
This is where it gets difficult because a lot of people, for some reason, say it's the scariest movie they've ever seen. I didn't find it scary at all. It is like a true crime mockumentary, basically. And it is done in a way to be tense, but it's not, there's not like horror beats. There's a few scenes where they're like, look at this picture and look what is in the background and that sort of thing. But it's not really a scary movie.
Is it like about a serial killer or is it like supernatural?
Supernatural.
Okay, so I don't find any supernatural things to be scary because my mind immediately goes, that's not real.
It is framed as real, though. They are framing it as if somebody is faking it and they might be doing something illegal, basically.
Ah, okay.
It's well done. Then they put out a really great crime film from the UK. The Craze is great. Again, same amount of love. Giant book, whole bunch of art cards. But then it took a great turn because they jumped into 4K with the Babadook. And this is where, for those that have not seen it yet, it gets insane what they're doing on these. So obviously they did great work with Dawn of the Dead last year. Everybody fawned over it, but it was Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, that was Second Sight too? Okay.
So they are doing amazing, for a big name title like that, of course they put all kinds of love into it. But the Babadook, like this has a couple good releases, but this, look at the size of this book, my man. This is, it doesn't move. Oh, by the way, that's a hardcover book in a limited edition casing. And look at this. It is astonishing how much information is in here. Yes, it is a great movie. And obviously they had a relationship with the director because they put out The Nightingale. Then to continue with a lot of their, modern-esque horror films and things that were kind of genre defining for quite some time, they also did the same thing for Paranormal Activity. I love this damn movie. Really nice sized book in here, a bunch of art cards, really well done, all kinds of special features.
I've told the story about my viewing experience with that movie, right?
I think so.
Just sitting in front of these, I would say like these middle-aged black women, and they were like, "Why that white girl go outside? You out of your damn mind!" And I was like, God damn it. So every time I watch that movie, I narrate in my head what's happening as if I was a black woman, which honestly is how people should live their whole life.
It makes the world a better place.
It does make the world a better place. I just imagine the Martin set because they just delayed that, right?
They delayed it again, hoping that they can get the extended footage that has just been recently unearthed.
I do want to highlight D-Flex's comment real quick.
Yep.
Mill Creek, for whatever reason, has stopped putting out Ultraman on Blu-ray. Even shows, they just announced Ultra 7X. That has, a lot of these shows have Blu-rays in Japan, so the masters exist. So I'm wondering if it's just they're not selling well,
and they're expensive, so they're just switching the DVDs.
Or they could only license that format. We don't know.
True. We don't know. But yeah, it does suck.
Sardis, yes, all of these are all 2021 releases. Everything we're highlighting tonight is all only 2021.
And how much is a normal second sight special edition?
What's odd is they vary wildly. There are some that have been on orbit for $29.99, and then this next one, which I think is their release of the year by a long shot, The Guest. This got the first time the CD soundtrack for this has ever been released. They had to pay for the licensing rights for that to be included. So this release was $60.
And Dawn of the Dead one was 120, right?
I think most places it was about 110 per 4K.
Wow.
So this one, 4K, came out. It looks amazing. All kinds of new special features on here. Again, the size of the book in here is ridiculous. It is huge. 4K Blu-ray, another Blu-ray, and then a CD soundtrack. Great release. And then I don't have yet, but they also put out Swallow. And then the final one that they put out for this year is Session 9. I don't have those last two yet, but that is everything that Second Sight released this year other than those last two.
He worked on the video essay.
Yep.
That's incredible, dude. That's awesome.
It is great.
Really? Damn.
Yep, genuinely great.
Congrats, dude. That's a good job. Swallow, what's that movie about? Is it about what I do?
Swallow is the one we talked about previously from Shout Factory, and right here. It is about the woman that has pica, and she is pregnant and starts swallowing random things. She just gets this weird compulsion, and there is all kinds of stuff going on that I don't want to spoil too much. It's a fairly new movie. And yes, that sounds disgusting maybe, but it's not. And it's not done to be like a horror film. It's tense, but it is shot like an art house horror film. It is beautiful. It is so oddly artistic and really well done. What's that?
Who's that actress?
Nobody, basically. Haley Bennett.
Lawrence.
Haley Bennett.
Huh. That name sounds familiar. But man, Second Sight, fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Do they do standard releases of movies?
They do.
They do. So they have the special edition line and the.
Almost all of those are available in standards already.
Jeff says he has patients that do that.
Yep. It is a very common thing, especially for pregnant women.
To swallow random shit?
Yep. It is called pica. It is a compulsion to start eating things that are non-food items. And Flickering Waves, I was going to bring this up. Umbrella had a very solid 2021 slate. Looking forward to Indicator in 2022, but my go-to label is Vinegar Syndrome, though I recognize their year was a bit underwhelming.
Why do people say that? Why do people say that?
Because Vinegar Syndrome had a very, very compelling 5-year run where almost everything were home runs. And now this year, not everything was a stone cold classic. And so it is sort of a letdown year, but they're still like an A- label.
I mean, this is the first time that I've ever really enjoyed a Vinegar Syndrome release. It was this year. So,
but I got to say, Umbrella killed it this year. Umbrella put out all kinds of titles that never had releases before. They did really great work. And Indicator, they're not listed as my favorite, but they are what I would call the most consistent label in any of the boutiques.
I just wish I liked the shit that they put out more. You know what I mean? They're like a weird I don't know. They're like a weird British Criterion. I don't know.
To a point. I think they have a lot more weird than that, and weird in a good way. More unique than Criterion.
Well, are you done with Second Sight?
I am done. Jeremy is saying he got a ticket to the New Bev to see The Final Girl. I love that movie. Absolutely enjoy it.
No one gives a shit, Jeremy. And if anyone's wondering why I'm being mean to Jeremy, is because he said I was like Artie Lang. So I know you do, Jeremy. Very beautifully shot. So my number one might be a big surprise for everyone in here. My number one is Criterion. I think they had an absolute incredible year this year. They put out a couple of good Tarkovsky movies, and I love them for that. They put out Man Push Cart. Don't even get me started on that movie. Just incredible.
They put out 40 titles with 3 of them with commentaries.
Dude, oh my god! And they're in their books now. They're I love that it's just a piece of paper with scribbles on it now. They're just absolutely the best label ever. No, it's 88 Films. Duh. Like if you've been watching this channel, you know I love Asian cinema. And honestly, it was so hard to choose between Eureka and 88 for the number one spot. But the amount of special editions that 88 put out this year compared to Eureka is just insane. So I want to start off with the worst movie of the bunch. It's really bad. The One. So this is a steelbook inside of a slipcover. This movie is terrible, but it's a lot of fun. I have a lot of nostalgia for The One. Jason Statham has hair. It's crazy. Have you seen this movie?
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time back when it was first released.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to watch it all the freaking time. Love this release. And then they dipped their toes into they've always put out Italian movies. That's one of their lines.
Yeah.
But they finally they started doing these special editions for some Eurocrime movies. So we got Violent Professionals, who Hex is a great movie. Hex is amazing. Violent Professionals and The Tough Ones, I love that they literally look like they belong together. I hope they continue this line and do some other Eurocrime movies with very similar artwork because I love it. They're loaded with special features. This one is a 2-disc set with a nice book. Each of them have a little book, but they're filled with information. And both these movies aren't too long. This one is 94 minutes, and this one is 100 minutes. So pretty awesome stuff. Yeah. That's 88 Films. And then let me see here. How should I do this? Because I will do...
you should talk for the next 30 minutes about Erotic Ghost Story.
Erotic Ghost Story? Okay, so Erotic Ghost Story. Absolutely incredible movie. Category 3. Love Erotic Ghost Story. It's a ghost story that's erotic. Ricky O, Story of Ricky. This movie... Going to work. Good night, Jeff. Have a good one, buddy. Oh, gotta go to work in the morning. Oh, me too. I have to be there at 8:30. Is 88 going to start releasing most of all their
start re-releasing?
Oh, I don't
to the U.S.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They haven't said, but they did say that there wasn't too much overlap between Arrow and 88.
The dead air in response to it was great.
So yeah, what was I saying? What was I even? Oh yeah, God, I'm having a blank. I feel like I legitimately there for a second felt like
talking about re-releasing Kung Fu films to the U.S. I don't think they have the rights to release any of them in the U.S. I think if they could, they would have done it before. The stuff that they are bringing to the U.S. are things that they could get here, and they are either dual releasing them to the U.K. and the U.S., or they are only releasing here because the BBFC doesn't allow them to release it in the U.K.
Mm-hmm. Somehow that has even more. Can we ban Germany? Can we just ban Germany outright? But yeah, they did say that there wasn't going to be too much overlap between Arrow's Region A output. They said a few double dips, which I think is Mighty Peking Man. Obviously, is number one. Come Drink with Me, and I think the next standalone title is going to be
A Diagram.
It's going to be the third one that's a double dip, which is fine. I'm going to pick them up because they're going to be loaded with special features and all that stuff. But they put out a handful of Category 3 movies this year. I got rid of 2 of them. I didn't even pick up one. Got rid of the other one because I don't like that kind of stuff. But they put out Robotrix and Erotic Ghost Story. But for me, this release of Riccio is just ridiculous. This is an incredible movie, just an amazing package, book loaded with special features. Like, look at that. This is all special features, just insane. Love this movie to death. It's very important. It's a very important movie, and it's a very bloody, crazy movie. I love you too, Jeremy. Now let's get into their Shaw Brothers stuff. So they put out 2 Shaw Brothers movies this year, just 2 after a little bit of a break, but both of them are bangers. So let's talk about Disciples of Shaolin, part of the Shaolin cycle. Between this and the box set, I think we have like 4 out of the 7 movies in the Shaolin cycle. So hopefully we get all of them. Really, and all their movies now, all their Shaw Bros movies, I think going forward is going to have a slipcover with art by Kung Fu Bob. So
I agree.
Love it. And then one of their best releases of the year, Chinese Boxer. This movie is very important. This is the first hand-to-hand Kung Fu movie. A lot of movies prior to this were all wuxia films. This inspired Bruce Lee, which eventually, his first movie was pretty much a carbon copy of this. Just an incredible movie. I love it. Jimmy Wang Yu is great. And then let's get into their Jackie Chan releases this year. They only put out 3. They also put out Forbidden City Chop, I think, but I don't have that one. Category 3, yes, it's basically what Ryan just said. NC-17 Hong Kong movie. Snake and the Eagle Shadow. This is a movie that they only have the rights to for this year. It's a little edited because there's a snake that kills a cat in this movie, and it is very grotesque and very violent, but they edited it up. Shaolin Cycle is a lot of these Shaw Bros movies, there's they're series. So like the Sentimental Swordsman's a trilogy, the Bastard Swordsman's a duo. But then these directors will do not like a overall arching theme, but kind of. So like the Shaolin Cycle is 7 movies, I believe, that Chang Che did. 2 of them are on the Shaw Brothers set. And then there's the Venom Mob cycle, so it's just not neither thematically related or like a group of actors related. But yeah, Snake and Eagle Shadow. This is Yu Wu Ping and Jackie Chan. I think it's their first collaboration. They would eventually, a year later, they go on and make Drunken Master, which is an important movie. This movie is fantastic. This is probably my favorite slipcover of the year from them.
It's a great one. And like he said, they only have the license through the end of the year. So 10 more days. If you really want this one, track it down as soon as possible.
Yes. Should they be watched in order? No. They're all standalone, which is great. And then they put out 2 of the best collector's editions of the year. And they're both Jackie Chan movies. And that is The Young Master with Jackie Chan, which is incredible. Woo. Oh, I'm not feeling good. Whoa. I'm not feeling too good. Palpitations. Ooh. Ooh.
You want to take a break?
Yeah. Hang on. Just hang on a second. Ooh.
Sure thing. Stendhal, what's going on? Awkward time to join in. First off, I wanted to mention one thing I was going to bring up after this. My main honorable mention would go to Vinegar Syndrome this year. So everybody knows I love Vinegar Syndrome. Absolutely love them from bottom to top. I have loved basically all of the releases from them that I've watched. I think that they've had a really great year overall. A lot of people have put them down, and I honestly don't get it. I mean, we have things like within arm's reach. That's kind of weird. Ticks in 4K. Absolutely great packaging. Really good 4K release. Looks beautiful. We also have things, the Scanner Cop 1 and 2 collection. Looks great. They revolutionized, I guess, the slip box with 2 slip covers in there. And it is something that is they're using going forward. They've had it for a couple different releases now. And Stendhal is correct. From what I know of, wuxia is martial arts fantasy based off of old novels. And that is what I've heard as well. Kung Fu is mostly hand-to-hand as far as I'm aware. Vinegar Syndrome also, the other things they put out this year, we've got Tough Guys Don't Dance. We've got Terminal Island in 4K. That movie is great, surprisingly great, but it shouldn't look that good in 4K, and it looks wonderful. Absolutely great. One of the big ones that Flip shared tonight was Ebola Syndrome. Came out in 4K for Black Friday. I've already watched that disc, and it looks, again, just way better than it should. It is a over-the-top splatterfest that looks amazing. Flex says he said Chinese Boxer was the first hand-to-hand, and prior to that was just Wuxia. I'm not sure then. I'm sure he can give. Well, hopefully he can give some response to that. Video Store says there's a great label in the UK called Network. They release some really obscure films like Who Killed Teddy Bear. They have put out some really good releases. They did the original The Woman in Black and showed it some incredible love, in my opinion. I think that came out in 2020. But yeah, they put out some really good titles, but a lot of their stuff is just beyond obscure. Things that I have either literally never heard of, or yeah, it is hard to find sometimes. And ordering direct is rough. Speaking of ordering direct from them, they were the first ones to put out the entire Monty Python, the series out, and ordered it direct from them, and it came thrashed to all hell. They ended up offering everybody brand new packaging, or I think it was like a $10 refund, which was crazy. That was a few years ago. Sendall says, I agree. Even though people said Vinegar Syndrome was underwhelming, I still enjoyed their selections this year. I mean, they were mostly great. I unfortunately can't see a lot of what came out this year, and I've been thinking about these other three companies, so I can't think of many of them. Let's see, we got Ebola Syndrome, we've got Terminal Island. Already spoke on that. October was a really great release. We got the Ticks from them. We got a couple box sets this year. We got the Homegrown Horrors, which is on my list of favorite box sets. We've got I think there was a Forgotten Jolly #2 came out this year. And we're getting, or not #2. Is it #3? Yeah, #3 came out this year. And then we're getting #4 literally next month. We got Steel and Lace came out in November. That is one I'm super looking forward to. I think that is going to be the big standout for Black Friday this year. I've said it a couple times, and I will stand by that for now. I'm stoked what they were able to put out this year, and I think that they are going to continue to do better. Jeremy says, "Did either of you see the new German film Sweat? Just watched it this morning. Really enjoyed it." No, I just heard about that one actually. I think I was listening to a podcast, and yeah, they were saying it's great. Stefano says, "I signed up for the yearly sub for Vinegar Syndrome for the first year. Fingers crossed. Everything that they are putting out this year that was released on that schedule when you signed up, it sounds like it's going to be literally like maybe their best year. Ridiculous how many good things they're putting out." Flex, I did watch the new Spider-Man. It is amazing. I said at the beginning of the show tonight, I think that it is literally top of the MCU for me. Champagne and Bullets came out this year, but I got to be honest, I'm not a big fan. That was one that I sort of missed, unfortunately, and I'm not a big fan of like the Neil Breen type films or The Room. I just don't really get down with that. I really hope Vinegar Syndrome will release Winghauser's The Art of Dying. And then Maximus says, I'd be down for a Vinegar Syndrome Wings Hauser box set. That would be incredible. Ice says, what labels just missed the top 3? That is hard. It was brought up in the comments a minute ago, and I did respond. But Imprint is probably, other than Vinegar Syndrome, the closest one for me because they have so many titles. They put out so many great things that are premieres on Blu-ray that are amazing. One of my top releases of the year was the Mothman Prophecies, and it is just great what they're able to do with some of these. We've got the Gong Li, the collaborations box set that just came out. Fantastic. They put out Body Parts. They put out Stir of Echoes in a really nice top tier release. And the big thing is they made this deal, obviously, with Paramount, and almost all of their releases are coming out, and they are from Paramount, and they are looking great. I really hope that continues. I sincerely hope that they are able to branch out a little bit more, for sure. But my big thing is some of those In fact, most of them are still not getting US releases. So if you're wanting some of those titles, you got to go to Australia to get them. That's the biggest thing. Robert says, I'm excited for the Doris Wishman sets from Agfa and Picorama coming next year. The Doris Wishman sets are going to be pretty incredible. Flex says, did I enjoy the Snyder Cut or do I prefer the first one? This is where my bias shows. I have actually not seen either of them. I've not seen most of the films in the DCEU. I've seen Aquaman. I've seen the new Suicide Squad. And I think I saw one more. I can't remember which it is. I think I saw Man of Steel like way back, like right when it first came out, but that might be it. I genuinely liked the new Suicide Squad quite a bit, and Aquaman was only okay, unfortunately. Sarda says one of my favorites is Second Run. I love Eastern European cinema. They do some really good work. I just got in their Beauty and the Beast that came out this year, and it looks great. Damn, Jeremy saw Spider-Man for the third time today. One of the best MCU films so far. Jeez. Ragnar says, Mondo Macabre going to have a good year. Yes, they have a lot coming out next year. They have been doing some great work. And Jared, I love Jared. I've spoken to him quite a few times. He is somebody that puts so much passion into his work that you can literally feel it. And I don't understand the response that they have gotten him on a Macabre because they, he is literally one person doing all of the actual hands-on work. He doesn't do all the restoration and all of that, but he does a lot of work for them. There's a couple others that do the restoration stuff, but he has told me he has literally gotten death threats, which is crazy.
I think I might be having a heart attack. We're calling 911, so I probably won't be back, but I really don't know what's wrong. I feel awful.
Okay.
We're calling 911, so I'll see you later.
All right. So we're gonna end this too. Wow. I hope everything's okay. I will update everybody as soon as possible. I will just quickly mention my number one is Severin for the year. They are doing incredible work with 4Ks. Their box sets this year are ridiculous. Wow, that sucks. Yeah, that was scary. Support these labels. I'm gonna go, guys. Hope you guys have a good night. I will update as soon as I hear something back. See you guys soon.